Students, let us continue and finish this chapter. Let us discuss acceptance. So up till now we have discussed offer, rules of offer, kinds of offer. Now let us continue and discuss acceptance. Offer was the starting point of contract. That is why it was defined under section 2 clause A. But after offer, it needs to be accepted. Only then it will become a valid contract. First, it will become an agreement, then it will become a contract. So, can I say that because acceptance is the next step, it is discussed under section 2, clause B. It's not very logical. Offer is the starting point of contract. That is why it is discussed under section 2, clause A. Whereas acceptance is the next step, and that is discussed under section 2, clause B. Okay, so offer section 2 clause A, acceptance section 2 clause B. So this is how you will remember the section numbers. All right. So section 2 clause A and section 2 clause B. Now, acceptance means giving the consent to the offer. Yes, acceptance means giving consent to the offer. We have studied all this earlier also. What is offer? What is acceptance? So acceptance means you are agreeing to the terms of the offer. You are giving your consent. It is only after acceptance that an agreement is made. When you add enforceability, then it becomes a contract. So first I need offer. Then I need acceptance. After that, the third element is enforceability. All these three elements will make a valid contract. Yes. So these are the main three elements. It is only upon acceptance that a contract comes into existence. No acceptance, no contract. Now, this acceptance may be either expressed in words, oral or written, or it may be implied from action. We are going to discuss the examples also. So, I'll just keep this temporarily on hold. As per section 2 clause B, when a person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent means consent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. It's a very logical definition. Let's break it and understand. When a person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent, that is consent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. So the person to whom the proposal is made, he gives his consent. Now, what is the meaning of signifies? This is the same word which was used in the definition of offer also. What is the meaning of signify? Signify means to communicate, to make it known to the other person. Yes. So when he communicates or when he makes it known to the other person. So when a person to whom the offer is made communicates his acceptance, he makes it known to the other person, then the proposal is accepted. How will he make it known to the other person? Either by words or action. So you can send a letter, you can call that person, you can give your acceptance face to face, or sometimes actions imply acceptance. Can you give me an example of implied acceptance? Yes, boarding a bus is implied acceptance. Can you name a case law? Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. She used the product as per the printed instruction. It shows acceptance. Let us go through the essentials of valid acceptance. Acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. The acceptance must be given as it is without any variation, modification, reservation. Acceptance must be a mirror image of the offer. Offer must be accepted as it is without making any changes. What if I make some changes? What if I may impose some conditions? What if there are certain reservations? That's not acceptance. In fact, it is a counter offer. Counter offer does not amount to acceptance. It is a new offer altogether. Okay. So offer must be accepted as it is without any reservation, variation or condition. Okay. It must be accepted as it is. Acceptance must be a mirror image of offer. That is the next sentence. The acceptance must be a mirror image of offer. Do we need to write all this? Yes. If you write this in the exam, it will cast a very good impression on the examiner. Offer must be accepted as it is without any variation, modification, qualification, changes. Acceptance must be a mirror image of the offer. You should accept the offer as it is. Even the slightest deviation makes the acceptance invalid. Conditional acceptance, okay, conditional acceptance, qualified acceptance is not an acceptance. In fact, it is just a counter offer. And let us revise and write the extra provisions. Counter offer does not amount to acceptance. Okay, counter offer does not amount to acceptance. It is a new offer altogether. Okay, counter offer does not amount to acceptance. It's a new offer altogether. You have to learn all these 4 bullet points. They are very important for exam. This can be asked as a case-based question, or it can also be asked as a theory question. They will just write acceptance must be absolute and unconditional, comment. Then you have to comment accordingly. Acceptance must be given only by the person to whom the offer is made. So can I say that if X gave an offer to Y, it must be accepted by Y only? Communication of that acceptance can be either by Y or an authorized person, but the acceptance must be given by Y only. Some other person cannot accept on his behalf. That other person can communicate the acceptance on his behalf, but he cannot accept on his behalf. So general offer, yes, let us talk about general offer. General offer can be accepted by any person who has knowledge of the offer. Knowledge is very important. So general offer can be accepted by any person who has knowledge of the offer. What about a specific offer? It can be accepted by that specific person only. Yes. So general offer, let us highlight the keywords. General offer can be accepted by any person who has knowledge of the offer, whereas a specific offer can be accepted by that person only to whom the offer is made. Acceptance must be communicated. Only when the other party comes to know about the acceptance, he can accept it. How can you accept an offer in ignorance of the offer? Okay. How can you enter into a contract in ignorance of acceptance? Acceptance must be communicated. So acceptance is complete. Contract is made only when the acceptance is communicated to the offerer. Okay, so only when the other person comes to know about the acceptance, only then the offer will be considered as accepted. Acha, listen. X gave an offer to Y, okay, to supply, or let's say manager. Okay, that gives us a position also. X gave an offer to a manager to supply 100 cement bags. The manager loved the offer. Okay, he said, it's a wonderful offer. He wrote a letter of acceptance, but he forgot to post that acceptance. He kept it in his table drawer and he forgot to post it. After a week, he called X and he says, you did not deliver the cement bag. He says, sir, you did not accept my offer. I forgot to do that. But it was such a good offer. You should have assumed that I would have accepted and you should have sent the cement bags. Sir, but you could have at least communicated your acceptance. Now, how will I come to know that the offer is accepted unless and until you give me some indication? So, acceptance must be communicated either by words or by action. Communication to whom? Communication to the offerer. By whom? Either by the offeree or any authorized person. See, I told you earlier also that offer must be accepted by the person, but the communication can be either by the offeree or any other authorized person. It's only communicating. Communication by an authorized person. There is a case law which I would like to discuss with you. Powell versus Lee. Mr. Powell had applied for the post of a headmaster in a school. The school management internally decided that they will appoint Mr. Powell as the headmaster. One of the management committee members, Mr. Lee, without any authority, communicated the management's intention to Mr. Powell. He said, do you know the committee has decided to appoint you as the headmaster? I think it's a very good opportunity for you. Powell was so happy that he did not apply anywhere else because he thought that I'm going to be confirmed by the school, so why should I apply somewhere else? However, the school management appointed someone else. So Mr. Powell filed a case against Lee saying that, Are, you had already communicated the acceptance. Now, how come the school management has appointed someone else? Because you confirmed I did not apply elsewhere. Now I lost the opportunity of earning salary over there. So he filed a case against Mr. Lee. Can he do so? Is the acceptance valid? Acceptance by Mr. Lee is not valid because he did not have the authority to accept. He did not have the authority to communicate also. You can write that. Was he the person authorized to communicate? So will the acceptance be valid? So in this case, the acceptance is not valid because he was not the right person to communicate the acceptance. So in this case, there is no contract. If there's no contract, Mr. Powell, you cannot file a case. You can file a case only when there is a contract. So over here, because Mr. Lee was not an authorized person to communicate acceptance, acceptance is not properly communicated. This is not a valid acceptance. It's not a valid contract. Mr. Powell lost the case. So acceptance must be communicated by either offeree himself or an authorized person. Silence does not amount to acceptance. Acceptance must be communicated. Silence does not amount to acceptance. X proposed to Y, will you marry me? Y did not reply for a week. After 1 week, X came and gave Y their marriage card. Y said, but I did not communicate my acceptance. He said, Are, I thought that your silence itself is your acceptance. I thought you were very shy. That is why you were not communicating your acceptance. No. Silence does not amount to acceptance. Acceptance must be communicated. A mere mental determination. Yeah, I thought I want to accept. But you did not communicate. No, that is not valid acceptance. Acceptance must be communicated either by words or by action. Mere uncommunicated or mental acceptance is not acceptance. Let's discuss the same example which we studied earlier. X gave an offer to the manager for supplying 100 cement bags. Now the manager, he wrote the letter of acceptance. He wrote the letter of acceptance, but he kept it in his table drawer. He kept it in his bag, forgot to post. Now can he tell X, Arey, you should have supplied, na? Who would have rejected such a good offer? Silence does not amount to acceptance. Acceptance must be communicated. Mere mental determination. You thought you wanted to accept, but you did not communicate. That is not valid acceptance. Acceptance must be in the mode specified. Yes, we had discussed this earlier also. Acceptance must be in the mode specified. Let us quickly just go through it. The more we discuss it, the more number of times we go through it, the better we will get at the concept. So let us revise again so that we are very thorough with the concept. Case-based questions are generally asked. Now, X offered to sell his motorcycle to Y, and he asked Y to send his reply by courier only. Now, what if Y sends the reply by courier? Very good. Very good. Offer is properly accepted. This becomes a valid contract. But what if Y sends regular post? Now, in this case, Mr. X has two options. He will either accept the regular post, accept that other mode, that is post, or he can reject the other mode. See, if he accepts the other mode, later he cannot cancel the contract saying that no, you should have sent it by courier. Why did you send it by post? Now I want to cancel. That is not possible. Or he can reject the other mode, but this rejection must also be within a reasonable time. It must be within a reasonable. Okay. So this was what we had discussed. Acceptance must be in the mode specified. Offerer has an option to either accept or reject the deviated acceptance, other mode like post. If he accepts it, valid contract is concluded. If he wants to reject it, you will have to reject within reasonable time. If he fails to insist, then we will assume that he has accepted. He is deemed to have accepted that acceptance. You did not insist that you should have sent by courier only. You did not insist. So we thought we are okay with that deviated mode of acceptance. Time. Acha, tell me. Time of acceptance is specified. Then acceptance must be within that time only. Time is not specified. Reasonable time. What is reasonable? It's not defined in law. It depends on the facts and circumstances of the case. X offered to sell his flat to Y for rupees 50 lakhs. And he asked Y to give the reply in 7 days' time. So he said, please reply within 7 days. When the time is specified, then acceptance must be in that time only. What if Y gave his acceptance after 10 days? Is it valid? After 7 days, offer lapses. This is not a valid acceptance. X offered to buy shares of a company. Okay, let's say he made an application. Okay, he made an application in the month of January, but the company made the allotment in the month of June. After 6 months, is it a reasonable time for acceptance? This is not reasonable. Is X bound to purchase and pay for the shares? So X is not bound to pay for the share. This is not a reasonable time for acceptance. Acceptance must be within the prescribed time. If there is a prescribed time, nothing is given then within a reasonable time. What is reasonable? It is not defined in law. It depends upon the facts and circumstances of every case. Acceptance must be given before the offer lapses. Acceptance must be given before the offer lapses or before it is withdrawn. Now, X offered to sell his house to Y for 50 lakhs and he said reply in 7 days time. After 7 days, offer lapses. Y gave the acceptance after 10 days. Will that be valid acceptance? No. So you can actually consider both the cases, because see, not accepting within a prescribed time amounts to lapse of offer. We had discussed that, right? This is one of the modes for lapse. Okay. So in this case, offer lapses. I can take another example also. X asked Y to pay 5,000 rupees. Okay. He said, we'll take the same example. Okay. X offered to sell his television set to Y for 25,000, but he said you send 5,000 along with acceptance. Okay. You send along with acceptance. Now Y accepted the offer, but he did not pay 5,000. Is it valid acceptance? Offer lapses. Offer lapses. Withdrawn. Let's have you written that share wala example? I'm erasing it. Written now? Okay. Now, in case of withdrawal, let's take that example. X offered to sell his flat to Y for rupees 50 lakhs. He gave the offer, but then he withdrew it. Let's say the offer was given by letter, but the withdrawal was by telegram. Although telegram service has been stopped, Let's say you gave by speed post, registered post, something which is a very faster means of communication. Let's say speed post. Y received the speed post. But in spite of that, he's saying, no, I don't believe in all this. Once the offer is given, I can accept it. He accepted the offer. Is it valid acceptance? See, the offer was withdrawn, right? And you knew about the withdrawal also. Is it valid acceptance? Acceptance must be given before the offer is withdrawn. Now the offer is withdrawn and you know about it. After that, you cannot give your acceptance. The offer has lapsed. Offer lapses. Expressed acceptance, it means it is expressed in words, either oral or written. So you have given the offer by letter, the reply is also by letter, email, phone call, face to face. These are all expressed acceptance. Implied acceptance. What is the meaning of implied? It's understood either from the action of the parties, conduct, you can use conduct also, facts and circumstances of the case. We discussed earlier, yes, Carlyle versus Carbolic Smokeball Company. Carlyle versus Carbolic Smokeball Company. Then boarding a bus which is running on a fixed route. Sale of hammer, yes, sale by hammer. Auction sale. You can say, ma'am, that is tacit contract. But we are talking about acceptance, okay? It is by action. It is by action. So boarding a bus, auction sale, these are all cases where acceptance is implied from the action or conduct of the parties. Words are not used. Next, let us discuss communication of offer and acceptance. Very important, but you only need to study my format. I don't think you will face any problem in the kind of question asked then. Pay attention to the format. X offered to sell his house to Y for rupees 50 lakhs. The letter of offer was posted on 5th of April. It reached Y on 7th April. Did you understand how I wrote? Y posted his letter of acceptance. Y posted his letter of acceptance on 8th, which reached X on 10th. When can we say that the offer is communicated? When can we say that the offer is communicated? Go through the line of offer. Okay, dates of offer. Offer is communicated when the other party comes to know about the offer. See, when you come to know about the offer, when you have knowledge of the offer, only then we can say that the offer is properly communicated. So communication of offer is complete on 7th. What about communication of acceptance? As against offerer X and as against acceptor Y. Now, when can we say that acceptance is complete for X? Acceptance is complete means contract is made for X. His offer is accepted. When it is put in the course of transmission. When it is put in the course of transmission means I put it in the post box. Now it cannot be removed. Okay. So communication is complete on 8th. Why are we studying all this, by the way? See, when the parties are sitting face to face, there is no gap in communication. I gave you the offer, you heard it, you accepted or rejected. But when the parties are at distant places, when they are at far off places, then these dates are very important. We want to know when is the offer accepted. See, we tell X that your offer is accepted on 8th. Now don't give that offer to someone else. Wait, that letter will reach you. It takes 2 days time. Ma'am, how will they come to know about it? Do they tell each other, today I have posted the letter? No, they don't say all this. These things are like post-mortem. You know, nothing happens when they are communicating. When there is an issue, when there is a problem, then we go back and we try to find out what are the dates so that we can reach some logical conclusion. So all these is dug up later on. Acha. So when the letter is posted, then we can say for X, your offer is accepted. Contract is made for X. Contract is made for X. What about Y? For Y, the acceptance is complete on 10th. So contract is made for Y on 10th. That is when the letter reaches X. So for Y, it is complete. Now, why two separate dates we will discuss. But as of now, just understand that offer is communicated. See, all the dates are going cross. Offer is communicated on 7th. Acceptance for X is complete on 8th. For Y, it is complete on 10th. Okay, so these are the dates. Now let us also study about revocation, and then I will go deeper into the concept. Revocation also means to call back. Now, Y gave his acceptance and then he realized that no, I don't want to, accept this flat. He wants to call back his acceptance. So what are the provisions for revocation? All right. So first, let us write down revocation means to call back. So I gave the offer and then I called it back. I revoked it. That is revocation. Now, revocation of offer. Before what date can I revoke the offer? I can revoke any time before I am bound by the offer. That is, I can revoke any time before 8th. I'll just erase this so that we are not disturbed by this. Okay. So we can revoke any time before 8th. Now, what about revocation of acceptance? So when are we bound by acceptance? We are bound on 10th. So we can revoke any time before 10th. Okay. So we can revoke any time before we are bound by the contract. Now let us discuss why two separate dates for both the parties. Why is X bound by the contract on 8th and why is Y bound on 10th? Why two separate? Let's consider that both are bound on 8th. That is as soon as Y posts the letter. Now X had given the offer on 7th of April. It reached, that is, communication was complete. But X, as soon as he posted, he had 5th, 6th, 7th, almost 3 days to decide that he wants to revoke the offer. And you are also giving him an opportunity to revoke any time before 8th. But you are telling Y that you will be bound as soon as you post the letter. So you are not allowing Y any time for revocation. All right, let us create a contract for both the parties on 10th. Now, if both are bound on 10th, it means that X can revoke his offer anytime before 10th. It means that he can revoke even after Y posts the acceptance. How can you revoke the offer after the acceptance is posted? Y says that, listen, I have already posted the acceptance. It takes 2 days for the post to reach, so that's not my fault. You need to wait. Your offer has been accepted. Now you cannot revoke the offer. So we cannot have 10th as the date of contract for both the parties. So let's have two separate dates. For X, the contract is made on 8th and for Y, the contract is made on 10th. So X is bound on 8th and Y is bound on 10th. Revocation can be before the contract is made for us. Let us write few extra points for revocation. Now, revocation must be by a faster means of communication. Faster means if you are sending the offer and acceptance by post, okay, if you're sending by post, then your revocation should be either by speed post, registered post. You should ensure that your revocation reaches by a faster means. If X wants to revoke his offer, then his revocation should reach before Y posts his letter of acceptance. And Y, if he wants to revoke his acceptance, must ensure that his revocation reaches before his letter of acceptance reaches X. Now, the funny part is, let's say X offered to sell his flat to Y for rupees 50 lakhs. Y gave his acceptance, let's say that he posted his acceptance on 8th, it reached X on 10th. Now, let's say that Y posted his acceptance and then he realized that I don't want to accept this offer. So he immediately sent a letter of revocation. So first he had sent letter of acceptance. Okay, first he had sent letter of acceptance, then he sent a letter of revocation. Now in this case, if your letter of acceptance and your letter of revocation reaches at the same time, isn't that a possibility? That Y had sent a letter of acceptance and then he sent a letter of revocation by a faster means of communication. But both reached at the same time. So X received the letter of acceptance and the letter of revocation of acceptance on the same day at the same time. Now, whether a contract is made or not, whether the acceptance is complete or not, depends on whichever letter is opened first. So if we open the letter of acceptance first, then a contract is made. But logically speaking, a rational person will always open a faster means of communication just out of curiosity to see why somebody has sent a letter of, why somebody is sending a telegram as well as a letter. What is so urgent? So a logical person will read the letter of revocation first. So if the letter of revocation is opened, then the acceptance is revoked, contract will not be made. But ma'am, what if he's a foolish person and he opens the letter of acceptance first, then contract will be formed. Don't assume that the parties are lying. See, it's very logical for you to say, ma'am, I opened the letter of acceptance first, but then I said, no, I opened revocation first. Who's going to come and check me? What if I lie? Law does not assume that you are lying. When you are under an oath, you say that whatever I say, I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So we don't assume that the parties will lie. This is all theoretical. Practically, people may lie. So, but then we can't assume that people are lying. So whichever letter is opened first, that will determine whether a contract is formed or not. So students, if you convert the question in this format, okay, if you convert the question in this format, you will never go wrong. I'm very sure about that. Also, a question is asked when both the letters and letter of offer or letter of acceptance and revocation reaches at the same time. So whether a contract is made or not depends upon whichever letter is opened first. Okay, so that you need to know. So this was our discussion on communication of offer and acceptance. Just one small point remaining. In case the communication is via email, telex, telephone, using electronic means, then the contract is made on one day only. That is when X hears the reply. So let's say, for example, that X called up Y. Arey, listen, I want to sell my flat. Will you buy it? Y heard the message. Offer is communicated. Y replied, yes. But what if the line goes blank? If we follow the same rules, then as soon as Y says yes, he puts it in the course of transmission, offerer will be bound, but he didn't hear the message. So so law says that in case of electronic means, when Y says the message, that is not the time when the parties are bound. both the parties will be bound when X actually hears the reply. So the point of contract will be when X hears the acceptance, or when X receives the email, and not when it is clicked and sent. Okay, when you receive it, that is the time when X and Y both will be bound. So in case of electronic means, the provisions are slightly different. All right. Although question has never been asked on that, but you should know about it. So students, with this we come to an end of our chapter on communication also, and we have also discussed acceptance. Now is the time for you to write and practice. So please attempt all these questions. They are very interesting questions. So please attempt all these questions, and then we will meet again for discussion. So I'll see you there.